Hey guys, this is Masawata.
And Mrs. Boya.
And this is
In Between Sundays. Another week, another episode. My lovely, so we left you guys hanging.
So we're back.
It was my birthday, guys.
They go busy. Big.
Busy. You know, we didn't sleep. The night is still young. The night is still young.
Because they like to party.
Oh, correct.
I slept.
They like to party. My people like to party. As for me, I'm
just being a hostess.
I'm a couch potato. I'm a couch potato. But yeah, we are back like we never left. Back like Mkokoto. Like
you know, I got that saying only like the other day. I was like, oh, Mkokoto, because in English it's back. And I'm like, I never understood it every time people like back like Mkokoto.
Back like Mkolo. Yeah. But anyway, we hope you guys are great today. What's today's topic, ma'am?
So, as people pursuing Christ, we are going to talk about how it looks like giving to the needy as people pursuing Christ, because there is a scripture on that. But obviously, in the world that we're living in today, it tends to be a little bit of a thin line. Okay, but we already live in the internet world where everything is essentially captured and put on the internet. So we're gonna start with a bit of scripture for reference, and then we're just gonna talk about that.
So the reference. Also, guys, it's not like the Methodist one. Also, don't mind my nails. Sorry, we're going through a lot. I look like my problems. Anyway, it's Matthew 6, verse 1 to 4. It is titled as "Giving to the Needy." Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. In Jesus' name.
Amen. You know, my first impression of the word, it was face value. Like, okay, I'm not supposed to do things in public, like if I'm helping somebody, even a limit fail. But then I read it again recently, and I was like, this is actually about who gets the honor. If you're giving to somebody and you do announce it and you post it on social media, like a lot of us do today, the honor doesn't go to God. You'll see people be like, oh my gosh, Ria is so nice. Like she gave Mama this. It becomes about the person helping.
You take more credit than what
you're exactly. It's not about how merciful is God that this person was able to get help. So the honor, it shifts from who it's supposed to go to, and then it goes to the person who is being used by God to do that. So now when I look at it, I'm like, it's not necessarily about what you're doing, what you're doing. It's about who gets the honor at the end of what you're doing and how you're helping. And I feel like the reason I wanted us to talk about it is because it's something that always comes up. You see on social media, Christians will be the first ones commenting. If somebody's helping somebody and it makes it to the internet, you'll get different types of people. You get people who are like, but did it have to be on social media? Why did you record it? What about that person's privacy? Like their first thought is that, and I'm like, okay, I get it. The Bible tells us obviously to do it in secrecy, but as like it's already out there. Why can't our first thing to say is that thank God that you were there to help that person. Thank God that you allowed God to help you, to allow yourself to help that person, like to be used by God for another person. But we always go like trying to hold each other on some. No, we be quick to quote Matthew 6 on people. No, but God in Matthew 6 said, do it in secrecy. Da, 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 da. And I mean, I get it because our teachings come from the Bible. But the point of it, it's not necessarily that you did it in public or you didn't. So I don't know, like, how do we navigate this? Because obviously we're living in today, all right? As much as we try to live for the spirit and not the world, in practical terms, things we live on the internet. And somebody obviously they'll always say like, no, but at least if I'm putting on the internet, it's to encourage the next person to also help another person.
100%. I think I have mixed emotions. I've always had mixed emotions about that. Like every single time I'm on social media, then I see a celebrity or just an ordinary person like making sandwiches for like the needy or doing gift with everything, and then they like posting that they're giving it to people. I'm always like, oh my goodness, so cute. And then I have moments where I'm just like, are you really doing that when no one's watching? You know? And I think I keep it at that. I'm just, you know what, let me not judge this person. Let me just rather like it and keep it moving. If you are only doing this for the
platform
publicity of it, God knows your heart.
Exactly.
God knows why you're doing it. God knows how you came about to do it, and whatever the case may be. And it's between you and your God. If you are doing it for likes, if you're doing it for social recognition, whatever the case may be, God knows the depth of it. God knows the intention behind
because
it.
He sees.
And listen, if you get what you wanted out of that, great for you. Love it for you. I think we as people are so quick to be like, no, but like you said, stop doing it in public. You should do it in private. No one needs to know. It's like praying for someone. That's a sort. Well, not as a sort of, but as African people, I'm not going to say black people, but as African people, what I have been taught, and even other races as well. A lot of people. I remember my teacher, one of my high school teachers, my life science teacher, Mrs. Van der Vesthuizen. She always like would say that when you pray for someone, you don't tell that person. You don't say, oh my goodness, I prayed for you. How could you know? You pray for that person. They don't need to know that you're praying for them, but it's the act behind it that matters. And that comes from also doing certain stuff. You don't need to post. You don't need to tell the entire world that you're doing something. You don't need to, just doing it silently. When you see a person is struggling on the road or something, and you can see that you have a McDonald's burger, and you probably have, I don't know, money to buy it tomorrow again. You taking out your fries and giving it to that person, saying, you know what, I don't have much, but this is what I have. It goes back to, let's say another person is crying on the road. You don't know this person, right? There was a day when I was crying, and there's a stranger, doesn't know me at all. She was like, do you need a hug? And I was like, yes. And she gave me a hug. It goes to if there's a family member or a person from church, you don't like this person doesn't like you, but you can see they're struggling, and you're like, you know what, this is the olive branch that I am reaching out to you that matters. It is through homeworks and school. The bully that is always bullying you is getting bad grades, but you're the person that, let me help you with math and stuff like that. You don't tell, no one knows about
There's
that.
no approach.
That person continues to bully you, but behind closed doors, you are really being generous. You are putting out the olive branch and stuff like that. That is what matters. It is through when you see a person down the road that is looking for, a lot of people, right, that are in need, they pass by the road, right, and they look through our trashes for anything. We always recycle those bottles, like the 2-liter bottles. We always put them up. We don't throw them away. When we saw that, we took them out and we gave it to him, like, okay, you can go and take money from it. And we didn't have to videograph that. We didn't have to tell that to everyone for God to know what the intention is behind it. And I think that's what our point is, that there's nothing wrong. Listen, emphasis on, there is nothing wrong with taking videos and pictures and posting on social media to be like, guys, let's help the needy, encouraging people to do it, showing people how to, maybe people want to do it, but they don't know how to do it or where to start. And now your video is, encouraging those people. But now if it's a thing of you are boasting, it is very clear in the Bible where it says, don't boast about how much you help people. There's a difference between boasting and there's a difference between encouraging. I promote encouraging. I don't promote boasting. Boasting is when you remind someone that, but I helped you. But I did this. But I did that. But I did that. But I did that. No. If, let's say, you take money out of your account to go help someone, you can't tomorrow say, but I helped you, so you owe me. There's no owing.
Also, the other comment that I would see in those kinds of posts, the person maybe who is putting it out and be like, no, but it's my money. I can do whatever I want with it. I can videograph and post it if I want. And I'm not judging also, by the way. But then what comes to my mind when I see such comments, obviously I wouldn't say anything to anybody, but it's like, if you are a Christian, by the way, I'm addressing people who say they believe in Christ, right? Not any ordinary person. But if we believe in Christ, do we not believe that the things that we have come from Him? Do we not believe that that job that you got so you can have that financial ability to do whatever you did comes from God? So now when you start throwing words like, it's my money, I can do whatever you want, but the person who gave you that money, the ability to have that money, had instructions for you in the word that this is how you go about it. So now we make it about us. Like, no, it's my money. I can do that. But is it really our money?
Listen, I hear them. I hear people that say that because, like, it is like money, but like I hear where you're coming from. I think when a person says that, they're saying that in a sense of like, you have no right to dictate how I use. 100% it comes from God. 100% comes from Jesus, and I think deep down we know that. But I think when it's not even, yes, when I think when it comes to defending ourselves, we don't really mention God, or we don't really mention Jesus. And I think that's what you're trying to get to. That might be the problem as well. That we're giving ourselves recognition more than we are to the Creator, the person that determined everything, the person that gifted you with the things that you have, right? But I do also, it's like basically right now, if I have 10,000 in my account and I want to give my entire salary to, I don't know, my sister, and now you're going to be like, well, but are you crazy? Like 10,000 Rand, why are you giving your sister 10,000 Rand? That is my responsibility. I think that's where people are coming from, that the money that was gifted to me is my responsibility. What I do with it, you have no right to dictate to me. Yes, it's coming from God. Yes, it's coming from Jesus, 100%. And we know that by the back of our minds. But God gave me the responsibility to do what I need to do with that.
Okay, but are you handling that responsibility the way that God said you should handle it?
I think that just goes with different people.
And then where do you draw the line between dictating and holding accountable? Because you mentioned that it comes across as if you're dictating how you're supposed to use your money.
I think holding accountable is when there is something wrong. For example, there is nothing wrong with a celebrity that does campaigns like buying pads for girls, buying food for whoever, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But I think, let's say I was a celebrity's friend and I'm realizing that, why is it only that you're doing these things when you know you're going to post? Why is it that you're only doing these things when you know that people are going to be there watching?
But in your ordinary life, you're not doing it.
In your ordinary life, you're not doing it. That's when accountability comes into the chat. That's when accountability comes on the chat. When you as a person that is in my everyday life realize that I'm not doing something out of my goodwill. I'm doing it because people will be watching. I'm doing it because it's creating a good image for me. It's like saying you only help people so you feel good about yourself. You only help people so that you have a good image. But is it really your personality? Is it really your character?
What is your heart saying?
That is where the fine line between dictatorship and accountability comes into the chat. Dictating is when, let's say, for example, now every single month I'm not posting, but every single month I'm contributing a certain amount to people to help them. And let's say as my partner, as my friend, she's like, Makachomi, do you really have to do it every single month? Like, why don't you just? That's my responsibility. That's the money that God gave me. And it's like also kukreking, right? When you give offering, I don't like to call it collection. It's rather offering. If you decide to give to the church, let's say you earn 100K in a month, and you decide to give the church 70K. That's your choice.
Nothing wrong with that.
I can't say to you, oh my goodness, that's too much. You can't do that. That's the church. It doesn't even help you. Why are you giving them 70K? That's dictating, right? Because I'm telling you how much you're supposed. I'm giving you the impression of you should not give the church that amount. However, if it comes to a point where your salary is 100K and you only give 70K and you announce it to the entire church that I am contributing 70K, that's when I, as maybe your partner, as your friend, gonna be like, but you didn't have to do That's you rubbing it in people's faces. We're not gifted the same. God might give you 100K per month, and God might give me 100K per year. But you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to tell the entire how much. You could say, I am contributing to the church and end with that. You didn't have to be specific about that.
Okay.
That's where accountability comes in. But dictatorship is when you're just like, Mara to me every single month. Why? You must only contribute 10K. The church doesn't even do anything for you. You're not doing it for the church. You're doing it for God.
And it's from the bottom of your heart.
Exactly.
Which is what matters.
That is why he always says, for us, right, at our church, what we do in its offering, you take your money, however amount it is, put it in your right hand, you pray silently. You don't ask. You pray and give thanks. You give thanks to the Lord for carrying you for the week. You give thanks to the Lord for still making sure that you have bread on the table. You give thanks to the Lord that you yet again woke up and saw the day that He had made. You have yet woke up again to see the beautiful creation He has created. And
what a privilege.
What a privilege it is to wake up again. Some people don't wake up. Some people on the Sunday they last day. So
not guaranteed.
You have it in your right hand and you offer
to give thanks to
give
God,
thanks
not
to
the church,
not the church,
to God,
not the church, to God. And that is why it will be easier for you to maybe contribute more as time goes on, because you will have the mentality of, I'm contributing to the church, not God. Sorry,
not the church.
Not the church, God. I am contributing to God, not the church. So I do agree, 100% agree, that as Christians, not even as Christians, as people, we give ourselves credit more than what we should.
A whole lot.
For example, the following year, last year, there was a lot going on in my life. I will not speak about it, but you know this. There was a lot going on. Listen, I was mad. I was hurt. I was like, why? Right? And when things started getting together, I was like, oh no, I worked on my mental health. I did this, I did that. But then later on, I changed my sentence. And I was like, I am glad that God did the way that He did that year, because I feel like if He didn't, I don't know where I would be right now. Mental health. I said that God is the one that carried me. God's the one that helped me.
You may have done the therapy and all of those,
but yes, but it was God leading me into that direction. God was the one guiding me to like, Ndanam, awukho right ngoku. Hlala phansi, thatha isikhathi sencinci nje uzicinge. And bring yourself towards yourself, because manje uyalahlekela. And He brought people in my life. He brought a community in my life that helped me. And that's what I prayed for. When I came back home after being admitted, I went back to my altar. I went down on my knees and I was like, thank you. Thank you for creating the space where I can heal. Thank you for bringing the people that can help me through this journey. Thank you for this and this and this. And I prayed for those people. Never did I ever go to them and say, Chomi, I prayed for you and I thank God. Well, I do say that I thank God, but I don't say what I pray about, because they don't need to know that. Not that I'm saying things behind their backs.
Also, when you're not sitting, you're waiting for them to be like, thank you.
Yes, it's like you want something in return. What we're trying to say is, when you help people, you can't help a person thinking that they're gonna help you. If you help a person and never help you, it's okay. It's okay. Like, if you're gonna help someone, help them from the goodness of your heart. Don't help them expecting that they will also do the same. And that's the mentality that I changed. That I mustn't help people because I think that when I need them, they will also go as far as I would. They won't. They won't. And I think it was the hardest lesson that I had to learn, that just because you would go miles for a person doesn't mean that they would go a single step.
Even an inch.
So when you do, and that also goes back, this even happens in secret. This goes back to the heart and the intention behind it. You don't need to do things in public. You don't need to do things because you expect someone to do it for you. You do them from the goodness.
And I mean, I could argue there are people who do things for people in secret, but they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They could just be doing it because they feel obligated.
Exactly.
Or because they feel uncomfortable. Like when you meet people in the street and they're asking you for money and you just want the person to leave, so you give it to them.
sometimes also it's to boost your ego. You know how good you feel about yourself when you know that you're the person that
it's
helped.
real.
Like some people are those people like, oh my goodness, I helped you register, so I'm the reason why you're in school. I'm the reason why you're passing. I'm the reason why you're doing this. I'm the reason why. The hell not. No, you're not. So I really do urge for everyone to do things because I've been hurt by that, having that mentality. And I'm not gonna sit here like I'm a saint. I used to have the mentality of like, okay, if I do something for a person, maybe when I need them without me having to ask them, when they didn't, it was a shock to my system.
I think I also struggled a bit with what we're talking about. Not necessarily given to the needy, but there were instances I did stuff. You see, like when you're talking about registrations and stuff. I remember there was one time when I helped a friend of mine. Okay. I helped a friend to do an interview for a job, and then when they got the job, they didn't tell me. I found out on social media, and a part of me was like, okay, like it felt off to me because I'm like, dude, you came to my house, we did the interview, da da da. We made sure that you get the interview, and when you get the job, I found out on social media. But I didn't say anything to them at that point, and I'm glad I didn't because then later on when I thought about, it, I was like, but I didn't help the person so that they can tell me first or be like, thank you, Jomi, you helped me and I got the job. Like, if you decide to thank me, whatever, it's fine. I'm not doing it for that. And I realized at that point I needed also to change the reasons why I did things for people.
I want to ask, how do you feel about like social media and articulation? What are the pros and cons?
I feel like it is true because it does encourage, right? Social media reaches people quicker than anything would, all right? So, as much as there'll be people who see it as no, you're disobeying God's rules, there are going to be people who feel encouraged by what you're doing and they feel like, you know what, let me actually also stand up and do something for people. So, I feel like it's a bit of a 50-50 because it does, like if you're saying well you're doing it to encourage people, it does work. There'll always be somebody who sees it and be like, wow, I can't believe that person helped that person. What am I doing with my life? Why am I not helping people? All right. But then there are always going to be those people who feel uncomfortable and they're like, what if it was me who was needy and you put me like on blast on social media like that and like privacy issues. So I feel like it depends on the situation. Because what I realize is that when we comment, all right, we don't even ask first what's happening. And I remember there was another post that I saw something about betrayed dance, and then people were saying all of these things, and then the person comments and is like, no, actually, the person I was helping is the one who asked for it to be filmed and to be put on social media to encourage other people so people can see how somebody, God sent somebody to my life to
not
help
knowing
me.
What happens behind closed doors,
right? And you quick to judge.
You will
exactly.
be quick to judge, and that's what I don't like about. And I'm sorry, man, this is not directed to every one of you guys. Everyone that knows me knows that I have a personal vendetta with Christians that judge. Like if you listen, and yes, Jonga, like kunezinye izinto ebhibhilini that say that you're not supposed to do 1, 2, 3, you're not supposed to listen, and reference to that, amen, hallelujah, praise to God. But kunezinye izinto where awudingeki bana ngoku uthi you're not supposed to be doing that. God is going to be so angry. Who are you?
Did God tell you that
Who are
He's
you
angry at that person?
Like, and I ask, Mana, in the Bible, there are certain things that they are really like they are said like blatantly that ungayenzi 1, 2, 3, ungayenzi 1, 2. For example, murder. If you murder someone, we're all gonna judge you. Whether you're Christian or we're all gonna judge you. No, Yesu, Jehovah, Jaja. You know, but there are things like same sex, right? Listen, old-fashioned people. The one case be telling us that God made man and woman. That there's a lot of opinions on that. Same sex before marriage, relationships. There's a lot of things, right, where people are very quick to judge. I just personally feel like you cannot identify yourself as a pure Christian that is going by the book if you have the audacity to judge.
And the minute you judge, you yourself are already committed sin.
Exactly.
So,
like if you yourself, you're just like, for example, I learned that we don't need to all go to church. We don't need to all go to church to believe in Jesus. We don't all need to read in the Bible to live a Christian life. The Muruti Mabani was like, the snake, the biggest snakes are the ones that you go to church with.
that is
sometimes the biggest snakes are the ones that you read in the Bible with, bro.
So the ones who caught it out of the head.
So I personally feel like, listen, if you're gonna judge a person for not reading the Bible as much as you do, you're a coward. If you're gonna judge a person for not going to church as much as you do, you're no better, because you're not really encouraging that person. You are demotivated. You're giving them more of a reason. And that's not the work that God said you must do. I think also it's not our place. It's very important. It's such a place to judge.
We have a spirit more of condemning people than encouraging them otherwise.
It's Jesus' place to judge. It's not your place to judge. But when it comes to giving to people, I think it is a very controversial thing, and we all have different opinions and different perspectives on how to do it, when to do it, what to say, how to behave, how to go about it. We all have different perspectives, and I think we'll never get to a point where we all agree on one thing, but I think we can all agree that do something from your heart. Not that we have
it matters more.
Not that we have a problem with you posting on. Listen, you want to post on social media 100%, but also know that if you're posting on social media for the likes of the people, God knows your heart. God knows the intent. If you're not doing it for that, great for you. Love it, in fact, for you. If you are still doing it behind closed doors, you're not even posting about it, but you're doing it, love that for you.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a grand gesture where now you are making 200 sandwiches and you're giving it to like people. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture where like now you are. I see there's an American person, I think he's South African. He books people that don't have hotels for like a day or something like that, or he surprises them in the mall or shopping center. Like, if you can get whatever you want in 1 minute, I'll pay for it, whatever, right? It doesn't have to be like that. It can be through the small things, to be like, that the people that are walking by, those 2-liter bottles, and give it to them so you can go get money. It is through the little 5 rand. 5 rand could be 1,000 rand.
So somebody, it could 1 rand make a whole difference.
Who knows? Maybe they are shorting with 1 rand to go buy bread. Maybe they got 10 rand for, I don't know, 15 rand for some people, and that 5 rand will just will make it enough for like to go buy bread. Sometimes they need more than what you can anticipate. Don't think that, oh my goodness, I only have 10 cents. Who knows? The 10 cents might go along. Sometimes a person just needs a hug. You see a person and they are not okay, or they look like a mess, don't be scared. I know some people do take it in an offense, but rather be like, hey, I'm realizing that you don't know. If not, can I please just give you a hug? Some people really have great hearts. Guys, I think don't judge people by the cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. And there's like something that I always go by. Some people say you can't read this. I have a different analogy when it comes to the book. Don't judge a book by its cover. And read the book and you don't like it, go back to it.
Read it again.
Read it again. What's the difference now? You see the foreshadowings. You can see the climax building up. You can see the conclusion building up. You can see the protagonist from afar, antagonist from afar. You can see a lot of things from afar because now you're reading for the second time.
And now you already know the characters already.
As much as the ending won't change, your perception and your perspective.
Now you get why certain people did this and that chapter and whatnot. And then 2 more things I want to ask you, right? Firstly, when you asked me about social media pros and cons, there's a thing that happens a lot, right, with people, like performative righteousness, I'll call it that, where you're helping somebody but then you make that person perform for you to help them, right? And a lot of times it's usually with like campaigns and like people are like, I have pets to give away, send your story or post what. I don't know how I feel about that. Because it's like, okay, but why if I need it, why must I convince you that I'm a person in need,
I
right?
don't agree with it personally. Because whether you are able at home, whether you're not able at home, the things that you need as a girl, as a guy, whether you're able, whether you're not. Like that, guys, there's necessities for everyone. We all have common necessities. For example, roll on, that's a common necessity. Lotion, that's a common necessity. Soap, that's a common necessity. I personally don't agree with that. With having to give someone my story. I'd rather not.
To receive help.
I'd rather go hustle for myself. Because why do I have to prove to you?
And I think what they would say is usually, because I remember there was an incident that happened with an influencer, and it's like, okay, but then how are you going to be able to know how many people to give to or who to give to if people don't send their stories, or maybe some people are lying that they're in need?
I personally feel like if you really want to help out people, like just say that. Don't say give me a story. Just say if you need help, send help. And then maybe if you have a limited budget, say the first people. Asking people.
But also, like, you could do research. Like, there are a lot of places where you can easily find people who are in need. You don't even have to go on social media necessarily. You could go to, for example, like an orphanage. You could easily identify people to help instead of making it a social media thing. Because why are we performing for things that we need? Like, now I must prove my poverty to you.
I totally agree with that. I do agree with that. But if you know someone that is in need, help them. But
and most of those people, like, there's a family member you probably can think of that needs those things, but you're going on social media asking people to perform.
But maybe there's behind good intent. Listen, I believe in we all make mistakes and we all learn. I think the person just didn't know how to approach it. I think the person, because her supporters, is it the person that I think it is? Is it a she?
Probably.
Okay. I think because her supporters have been supporting her since day one, and they're the ones that helped her get to where she is right now. She wants to help them, right? But I think she just did not go about it the right way. I think what she could have just done is, hey, I'm willing to help this and this amount of people. The first people that send me this message, I will help. And then the others, I will help whenever I can again. Listen, it's wrong how she went about it, but she was trying. I think it came from a good place. She just did not use the right words in that situation. She used very big words.
You know, outside of campaigns, like if it's your own thing, like your own money or whatever that you're giving away, I feel like also, especially with people who already have platforms, right? I've noticed that something that happens, there are always going to be people who DM you to be like, oh my gosh, can you please help me? Da, da, da. Those people, like celebrities and influencers, they always get DMs, people asking them to help them, like private DMs. So wena wa bona di-DM tsa gago wa di feta kaofela wa lo posta story wa re whoever needs help. But like you could have identified from those things, because I know for a fact that people are always commenting and be like, hey guys, like people share their stories on comments, like even it's not related, but the people who like are so in need that wherever they can get their story, they will put it on. So it's like, why are we disregarding the people who have already asked and making it a thing, like maybe a competition right, type of thing?
Maybe you're right. Yes. Maybe you're right. I've never put myself in that situation.
And then with churches, right? I feel like I said this before, with greater power or platform comes a greater responsibility. In a church, it's a safe presumption to make that we know the word, we know what God says in the word, right? In our church specifically, I remember last year, December, they did this food packages, right? And I have no problem with the church giving people food packages. I feel like we should, well, as a church, like identify people. But I felt a certain level of discomfort in the fact that when they were giving out those food parcels, they called out the names of the people to come in front to take their food parcels.
Really?
Yes, it was Christmas. You were not at church. I think it was Christmas, yes.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I was the person in need and my name was called out, I don't think I would have been able to stand up and go. As much as yes, I'm being helped, but as a person, we are very conscious, like subconscious of what people think about us. Now I'm gonna be feeling like next Sunday I go to church, where's gonna be looking at me like I'm some poor person who can't even afford food. And I'm like, as a church, like I get it with a lot of people, we can easily say, okay, your intention is what matters more, like your heart is what matters more. But in a place where you are assumed to know what the word is supposed to say, do you feel like there's a better way to do stuff like that? Because I don't agree with that. I feel like it makes people very uncomfortable. I feel like it should be up to the person who's being helped to be like to stand up and give a testimony. Okay, I feel like it should be up to the person who is receiving the help.
Same way our confirmation. Now we had a situation in our confirmation,
and nobody knew who was being helped and whatnot.
That's the same way I would do it. Where yes, the food parcels. I think also another thing is, and listen, I don't know what's the real reason, but I think the reason why the church did in that way is because a lot of the times people would like contribute so much and then they'd ask, okay, where did the food go? We don't have proof that it went to those people. So I think maybe that was also a way of them trying to show proof that the food really did go to those
They
people.
could have shown us the food without calling those people. They could have went to those people's houses to deliver the food.
That's what I was going to get to. That I feel like that's how they could have went about it. To be like, hey, where do you live? Let's take the food to you. Or it is a matter of you call the people one by one to come fetch. You know, yes, on the side to come fetch. I also would have felt that discomfort because why do you need to know my financial status?
Like now the whole church knows that.
And just because we're all going to church does not mean we're all understanding. I mean, there's a lot of people that judge other people for not having the necessary necessities. Some people actually laugh at you for that. Some people are just like, oh, what papa ko kreking mara. You know, oh, girl, udula only number one. Kadi, how na limto ko kreking mara kanti now was so all, you know, and I'm told
and it's a lot of old people who do that a lot.
So imagine you put yourself and listen, I'm not making it a problem. You put yourself on such a high pedestal, and then behind closed doors you're struggling things. And now people know about that. Abantu bazothetha ngawe. Bazothi uyaphapha esentweni because now abantu sebayazi incwadi zabo. So I think in that situation the church could have done it better. Yeah, because like I don't need people knowing my business. Example, no one knows my business at church, right? I hope they don't. And no one knows my business. They don't know my struggles, and I wouldn't like them to know my struggles because I mean we hold ourselves with such, you know, dignity that if people knew certain things, they'll be like, "Ooh," you know. And I know that people would judge. So that's another thing. Christians, stop, dude, judging. Even if you're an atheist, whether you're a Christian, atheist, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever,
stop judging.
Stop judging. Like plain blank and simple. Stop judging. But when it comes to helping people, I really feel like it depends on how far your heart is willing to go. And listen, if there's nothing wrong, if you don't want to give people 10,000 rand, it's fine. If you give people 2,000 when you in 100K, that's okay. It's okay. Like that's God gave you that responsibility, and you can decide what you do with that responsibility. It's between you and your own God. If you have 16 packs of cokes in your fridge and you are living alone and you want to give one to the person on the street, it's fine. Like no one's gonna judge you. You don't need to feel guilty about it. One thing I'll say is that don't do something because you feel guilty. Don't do something because you're gonna feel any less Christian if you don't do something. Don't do something if you're gonna feel like people are gonna judge you. Do it from the bottom of your heart. Because God's gonna know if you're doing it out of guilt. If you're doing it out of guilt, no go to the world will come back because you're not doing it because you want to do it. And there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's between you and your God. If your God is okay with you not contributing anything or giving anything to you, it's okay. It is okay. Like I'm such a do what you want, but whatever makes you happy,
your God will see. Your God knows.
Whatever makes you laugh, whatever makes you 10%. Well, we're nearly done, I'm sure. Whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes you sleep at night, do it, my baby. It is okay. Like no one's gonna judge you. I'm one person that's just like, let's say for example, you contribute 10,000 to contribution and I only do 1,000, you have no right to judge me. Because if God gave me that money and I decide to put 1,000, it's between who? My God.
You and God.
Not me. Yes, maybe the Lord might send you like, Voyo, be more generous with your money. But
if He will tell you, I don't have to judge you and be like, I bought me, but you could have taken out more.
Understand? So it's between you and your God. What you want to do for other people, it's between you and your God, not between you and the next person. I mean, I've been living here for how long? 21 years of my life. I've been living here. And I grew up with people around here. But I've never experienced, I don't know, helping people here. And that's okay, because maybe I'm not meant to help them. But I've experienced helping other people. You know, not that I love my neighbors any less. I love them loads, love them down. I just, you know, I'm probably not that person for them. It is okay for me not to help a person at the robot, because you might not be the person that needs to help that person at the robot. Maybe the next
you don't have to help every single person you come across.
You can't always be Bob the Builder. You can't always be Bob the Builder. Maybe the next car behind me is the person that's supposed to be helping that person. Maybe 10 cars that are going to pass by, that person's going to help that person. Sometimes you don't need to help every single person. You don't need to help every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Sometimes you need to understand that you cannot always be the fixer. If you don't want to help someone today, it's okay. It doesn't make you any less of a good person. It doesn't make you any less of a Christian. It's okay. Some days it's okay for you to spoil your money on yourself. You don't have to always give it to people. If you get money for yourself, spend it on yourself. You want to go spend it on other people, go spend it on other people. If you don't, it's fine. It's fine.
But I mean, if I'm somebody who's receiving help, I actually feel more like, don't do it. Like, if you're doing it out of pity or you're doing it because you feel the need, like, I'd rather you don't help me. So Vela, if you're gonna be helping people because you feel a way, not because you actually want.
A whole cake, if you buy yourself a whole cake,
and you don't want to give anybody.
Let me call you guys. My mom buys herself milk tart from Woolworths, and she's like, "This is mine. This is mine. Don't eat it." And you dare eat it, she will slap you. She will slap, and it's okay because it's hers. She wants to treat herself. She's always sacrificing for us. And she's doing it from the bottom of her heart. But this time around, she's spoiling herself. And it's okay. I had a whole cake for my birthday. I ate it alone. Because
now people are forcing you to do it.
I sliced for everyone. And I took the better half. And I was like, yeah. It's mine. And no one's going to tell me otherwise. You know, there was a time when my dad gave me money. He's like, go spoil yourself. Did I spoil myself? No. That's because I really wanted to spoil my parents. But if I couldn't, if I really like, I would have spoiled myself. And I would not even feel any guilt. So, my babies, do what your heart says you must do, and do what your God says you must do. If you're getting the word from the God, listen to what He says,
with the heart.
And don't let anyone judge you, and don't let anyone stop you or discourage you from doing it, because that's you and your God.
Whatever you do, keep it at the back of your mind that God sees. He's an all-seeing, all ever-present God. So I'll prefer Namo. Your God knows your heart. We may not know it, but He does. Anyway, this is the end of the episode. We will see you guys next week.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye.